Now what I'm going to do is basically go through and I'm going to show you a visual representation of each one. And for the cameras, I'm going to keep them at the default setting. So I thought it'd be kind of cool to do a visual representation. I did one once before, which you can check out above. But this one's a little bit different because I included the M50, the Canon M50 in the results. And so what I'm going to show you is basically the lineup. I still have this one, which is the Logitech 920, which works quite well. Now what I'm going to do is basically go through and I'm going to show you a visual representation of each one. And for the cameras, I'm going to keep them at the default setting. So they'll all have the same light. Or a very similar light. I'm doing window lights, so some of that might change slightly, depending on how the weather changes. But in general, you're going to get a good visual representation of each. Hopefully that's going to answer the question, basically, which one would you use? And I'm going to show you a cool way you can actually use each of these for streaming. Now, obviously, the Logitech 920 is set up for that. It's a webcam. But I'm going to show you how you can use your A6000 and your M50 or your Sony for streaming. So here's the visual representation of the A6000. Now what I'm going to do is switch to each of the cameras, and then you can decide for yourself. I'm going to do be sure to subscribe to check out the review I'll have of the M50, which I just got. And I think it's a pretty cool camera, and I'll show you some different hacks you can do to improve it immediately, because I went through and researched a bit and said, you know what, this camera is awesome, but I know the limitations, like the 4K limitation and some of the others, such as battery life. So what are some hacks I can use right off the bat? And I found some, and I'll share those with you, so be sure to subscribe to see that. But the reason I'm showing this to you is because I think as a creative entrepreneur that cameras and video are really important, but it's really hard because there's all kinds of different information out there. And a lot of people will deal with settings. And if you're not familiar with camera settings, or you don't want to deal with them at all, what's a camera you can get that right out of the box, just the default settings you can pretty much use? I think the A6000 is one of them. I'm going to show you the M50. And of course, this webcam, the Logitech 920, actually does quite well, especially in low light. Now, Sony doesn't have as good in low light, but it's doing quite well here. I've got a lot of light coming in from the window, maybe even too much. Okay, so here's the Sony. Now, let's go on to the 920. Okay, so I've switched over to the Logitech c920. Now, I like this, and I've used it a lot. It's one of the most inexpensive cameras you can get. Webcams you can get to basically live stream or create video. Now, you don't have to have a camera. What's cool is you can set it up to your computer and bypass the whole need for a camera at all. You can create videos to your heart's content, any number of things, right? All with the Logitech c920. Now, I have to say, although I like it, it does well in low light. You'll see that it doesn't do, that effect where you have the blurry background, and it's not as crisp, I don't think, but you can judge for yourself. This is the same light as the other, as the Sony A6000 had. Now, what I'm going to be doing is, here is the Canon M50. I'm going to go ahead and with the kit lens, I'm going to go ahead and set this up so that you can see the difference. Okay, this is the Canon M50, and you'll see some obnoxious information on here. I'm going to get rid of all that real quick here, but I did want to show you using the same program that I used for the other ones, Ecamm Live. I find it easy to use, and I'll have some further information on Ecamm Live. You can watch a couple of videos I already have up above, but this is what the M50 looks like. Now, I'm going to switch over so we can get rid of all that stuff. Instead of using the computer and capturing that way, I'm going to go ahead and show you what the camera video looks like when we just use the camera all by itself. Okay, so I'm back with the M50, only this time, instead of being connected to the computer, I'm just recording directly. Now, I love this little camera. It works really well. I love the look of it, and it's really easy to use. It's got the flip out screen. I'll have a full review coming soon, but I did want to show you what it looks like without, going through the computer, and you don't have the all the extra stuff, but you can see that extra stuff. I can see myself here, which is the advantage of using Ecamm Live is that I've got a big screen and I've got a feedback on what's happening. When I use something like ScreenFlow, I can't see myself, and I can't see how that's going or if I'm glitching out or whatever. But this you can see, and like if you're using Ecamm Live, you can actually see it'll have you up on there as well. So you can be streaming live and getting feedback on exactly what's happening, your audio levels, and so on. But this is what the M50 looks like. You're going to want to have an auxiliary mic when you're using the M50 because it doesn't sound as good. So anyway, let's go on, and I'm going to go ahead and switch over to the A6000, and I'm going to show you what it looks like with the in-camera, just in case there's a results change. Now, of course, we can't use the Logitech c920 because it's a webcam. Okay, so here I am with the A6000. Now, I can't see myself. It doesn't have the flip screen. And so I can't really see what's going on. I did a little hack so I could, but I did check it with Ecamm Live before, so I think I've got myself set up pretty nicely. Now, this is what it looks like with just the camera instead of through the computer. There probably is no difference between these two, but I thought I'd check and see. Might not even include it in the video. I don't know. Obviously, with any camera you want to get, you're going to want to add an external microphone. Now, unfortunately, with the A6000, it doesn't actually have a port for the mic itself. So you can't really do that. Oh, bummer. But you can sync it up with other microphones, doing that. So anyway, that's the test with the A6000. Okay, so we're going to finish off with the A6000. That's what's showing right now. And that's what I usually use. Before, of course, the T4i, I used this because I thought, if you look at the visual comparison, again, that's up above, you can see that. I found the T4i, I thought, gave kind of a cooler effect. Now, you have to remember, all these tests are done at default. So like right now, I could change some of the settings on here to make this a little softer. The light's pretty harsh from this one side, and if you study lighting, you'll see some of my lighting is like, oh no, I just sometimes I can dial it in, and sometimes, I really love natural light. If I at least have a good image, I'm okay with that. Now, I know it can be a little more cinematic, and it can be a little better. And so with some settings, or I could soften this side light by having something in front of here to kind of filter out that light. So oftentimes it's better to do the settings, but I wanted to, with this test, to do the default settings, assuming that a number of people are really not going to go in there and muck around with the settings. You should. I'm doing that on an ongoing basis, is getting those settings and dialing in just right. And it's a fun process, but you have to be into it. If you're not into it, I think these cameras work well. Now, some people will differ. You can see the visual comparisons and decide for yourself. But I think even at the default settings, you can do quite well. And instead of focusing on all of those different cinematic lightings at first, go for content, go for connecting to your audience. And my humble opinion is you're going to see some good results. And then you start gaining momentum, and you can go in and you can tweak things along the way. But instead of going for perfection, then grab a camera like the A6000, or I really like the M50. I'm going to have a review of this. If you're a creative entrepreneur, using video is hands down going forward going to help you a ton. There's different hacks you can do. Let's say you draw, you paint, anything of what you do, even writing. Anything that you do, getting some visuals, getting some stories, hook story offer, and really that's one of the main challenges. The tech, yeah, okay, but really it has to do with your hook, what you're putting out there, that headline, that story that you convey about what you create, and the offer that you put out there, not just a product, but a real offer. And if you want to know more about that, in the description below, there's a challenge you can sign up for. It's awesome, and it gives you a full experience from 3 different experts on creating a hook story offer, having a sales funnel. And I think if you go with that, I also have something that I can give you that kind of tweaks it if you're a creative entrepreneur to make it more of an authentic sales funnel. The 3 experts are talking from the angle of a marketer. You're a creative entrepreneur, there's a little bit of tweaks here and there you can do to kind of make it align more with your audience than this street marketing technique. So I'm hoping you'll find that useful. See the link below, and thanks a lot for watching. I'll see you next time when I do a review of this and more. And if you find this useful, be sure to like it or comment below. Let me know what you thought of the whole visual representation of what you're using to kind of film what you're doing as a creative entrepreneur. Thanks a lot for watching. See you next time.